I love
we was
it.
talking about you're from Sacktown,
Mhm.
Bay Area. I immediately started talking about E40, Be Legit, The Click,
Right,
D-Shot, all
right.
these guys.
Yep.
And the reason why I had such a connection
Mhm.
is because even though they were teaching how to be smart in the streets,
Mhm.
they were still teaching how to be smart.
Right.
And since I was in the streets anyway,
Mhm.
I like listening to guys that taught me stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So like it was just different for us.
Mhm.
Like, you know, you had to be at a certain level. You had to be able to compete at a high level at a young age.
Mhm.
And that's what taught me how to move.
Mm.
No more chains holding me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ari Squires. Welcome back again to the Release the Chains podcast, where we have real, raw, and revolutionary discussions helping people just like you release your mental, emotional, financial, and generational chains for good. Today, I am excited to have a guest that I am meeting for the first time, and I'm just loving the energy between us already. We've been talking before the podcast, and I'm loving it. But let me tell you a little bit about who he is, and then you'll get to know him a lot more as we dive into this discussion. So, Damon Coleman was born and raised in St. Louis and now resides in Atlanta. He has been an entrepreneur since 8 years old, and for the last 13 years have been a seven-figure earner and owner in the business of network marketing. Most recently, Damon Coleman is the founder of Cherish Premium Sanitary Napkins, which we're going to show you what those looks like, and now launching his new line of feminine hygiene products, Essentiables, which we're going to show you some samples that you definitely need to go and grab. Damon is also the founder of DC Global IME as an author, coach, and leader in business and personal development. Most importantly, Damon is a dedicated father and visionary that will impact the lives of over 1 million families in the next 3 years through inspiration, motivation, and education through DC Global IME and Essentiables Premium Sanitary Napkins. He's a leader in business and personal development. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here. So like I said, we've been friends on social media for some
Virtual
years,
friends for
right?
almost a decade, if not a decade. Yeah.
And real recognize real.
Yeah.
Right. What I love about you is that I always see you in that place of impacting lives, helping people become better. And I've seen you grow in the process with your businesses. So tell us about what got you here to with the Essentiables and just, a little bit of your past and how you got here.
Well, first of all, Ari, honor and a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
You have a beautiful, amazing studio. This is incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm just honored, just to be able to have attracted you, to this
Mhm.
point,
Yeah.
not knowing anything about your background, because I hope we get to hear a little bit more about you too and
Yeah.
how you made the connection
Yeah.
with me,
Mhm.
because we've always had that virtual connection.
Right.
Right. I think I probably pitched you a couple of times about something or another. If you've been following me long enough.
Been, very professional.
Yeah, and just respecting
Yep.
what you are doing in your own right,
Absolutely.
which what made me attracted to keep following you
Right.
and see a part of your journey. So I'm
Right.
very happy to be here. But I
Thank
got to where I am just through a great need.
Mhm.
I, as you read in my bio, started off as an entrepreneur at 8 years old.
I know.
And I could have put younger, but it's like, okay, man, give me a break.
Uh-huh.
But the truth is, I did
Mhm.
by leadership of my big brother, Tommy. And, my mom moved up to California when I was a kid.
Mhm. What part of
Get it?
California?
We lived in East LA and South Central.
Okay. I'm from Sacramento, so.
Yeah. So she said she moved us out there to get away from my dad, who was
Okay.
abusing drugs at the time.
Okay.
But we didn't have any money. In California, if you don't have any money, you really don't have any money.
Facts.
So, which is why we were in
Facts.
East LA. And my brother, who is 6 years older than me, he was 10, I was 4, and we would go to these stores called Ranch Market, and we would carry groceries, and people would give us like 25 cents, 50 cents,
Right.
and we would go in the store, buy granola bars, avocados and stuff, and like felt like we did some bringing some granola bars home or whatever.
Exactly.
But we did out of necessity then. It was tough. And so just having that leadership of my big brother to show me like, man, you can do something at such a young age. I like that feeling. And so I continue to carry those entrepreneur endeavors. Oh my gosh, from yard work at 8 years old, freaking cutting grass, raking leaves, shoveling snow from St. Louis to Midwest.
But I love that though, because it teaches you a lot, right? At a young, it teaches you responsibility. It teaches you having things in order. It teaches you about creating your own reality. So I think that's why you've had so much success now, because you started so young. So kudos to your brother. Let's give a round of applause to your brother.
Thank you.
That you had somebody to kind of guide you in that way. So, so you did all of that, and then I'm sure there was a lot of struggles and obstacles.
And I want to mention that because it sounds so like, oh, this kid had it together, but the price I paid for learning how to do that kind of work at such a young age. My brother showed me that in terms of, just how to put some money in my pocket at 4. He didn't really show me any other way how to make money, but what I saw him doing, which is always creating stuff. He was a break dancer. They would somehow always hustle upon some money to get their, the outfits. And, it's just, he was just always making it happen. So he always had that hustle spirit. And when my mom married my stepfather, we moved out of the projects and into like a single family home.
Okay.
But it was like 1-car garages, 1,200 square foot homes. But people had yards.
Yes.
And so my stepfather, very abusive. If you didn't do something right, you had to do like 10 times over, and just harsh punishments. But he made me understand the importance of like doing things a certain way out of a spirit of excellence. Because he always you like double work. You like double work. So, you wake up middle of the night, you have did something, it's a school night. You're like, man, you're mad. What you going to do about it?
Right.
You got to do it.
Right.
And so you can't fight them. I wanted to.
Right.
You
got to respect it.
You got to respect. So I would find myself operating this way, and these habits and disciplines started to carry into my hustles. And so I went from cutting grass, raking leaves, shoveling snow to junior high where my friends already selling drugs. Now I'm selling candy because I see somebody get on the bus, big, what you call it, the little bins or whatever you call it, full of now laters. And then little tubs. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. The little tubs, And so Leon come on the bus. Leon, the Jerry Curl used to stink so bad. That's how I remember him, right?
Oh, man.
So Leon come on the bus, tub candy after school, tub empty. Leon get off the bus, gone, like jingling, pockets full. I'm like,
nice.
It's just like, Leon been doing that forever. I'm like, okay, so I got an idea. So I went and got some Bubblicious. 7 in a pack for $1.35. I sold them for 50 cents a pack. I made $3.50 off $1.39. I used to have, in St. Louis, it gets cold, so I had the big winter coat. I used to have gum loaded in every pocket, and some of my friends even started meeting in my locker. I would get them gum at the beginning of the school, and at the end of the day, you have my gum.
My 14-year-old need to be here listening to this.
Oh man! And so but it was like either that or I'd be laughed at because my friends already buying starter jackets, starter hats,
because
they're selling drugs. A couple of my friends at 14 have cars. That's the kind of neighborhood I grew up in, and it was like to compete. To talk to girls, like you had to have something. So I'm hustling, and then so this was junior high school, money on our mind in like the 6th, 7th grade to that extent because of the pressure. Man, if it was social media back then, oh my gosh, we all been in.
It'd have been
all people selling all them drugs, like it was crazy.
Yeah, but what'd you learn about yourself through that process, though?
I learned that I was brave. My brother that was 6 years older than me used to pound on me too, and make sure you ain't gonna be soft, and it was super hardcore. Got involved in the gang at 12, and I just it made me realize that I could take risk, and that I was a hard worker, and that I was a loyal guy. I was not to brag and make it try to sound better than what it was, but I was a young thoroughbred. A lot of the guys I hung out with was a lot older than me. They took a liking to me. I was like, my big brother said I was too old to hang out, too young to hang out with him. But then like, you know, the kids that was like 3 years older than me, that I was cool. They invite me. And so it was always, you know, that type of energy. And it just caused you to like, young lady gave me a compliment last week. I was kind of patting myself on the back. She was like, you know, Damon, you know, I know you do this. You know, you speak affirmations. I know you're a spiritual man. And, you know, I know this. She said, but you know how to move. And it just hit me like different than any other compliment that anybody's ever gave me. And I look at this girl like, thank you. Because that's how I've been able to that's what I learned about me throughout those years.
Let me say this, because I've been having this conversation a lot, right? Because I'm like you, and this is another thing we have in common. We actually have a lot in common as I'm hearing you talk, because I started my entrepreneur journey at 6, selling my Barbie dolls, 6 years old, so I get it. And once you get that first little coin, you're like, hold on. Especially when you grow up and not have anything. Yeah, it's a whole different process. So I've been having this conversation a lot about hustle, right? So I've heard 2 things. So one thing is, can you teach hustle? Because for me, it's just a part of who I am. You know, you say like she gave you that compliment. That's because you're a hustler. You know, not like
all hustlers don't know how to move. So I'm not saying it offensively.
No.
I want to make the correction.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know a lot of guys that I know hardcore hustlers. But they always end up in the same place because they ain't never know how to really move.
There you go.
Okay. I think you can teach hustle. So, you know, offline, we was talking about you're from Sacktown, Bay Area. I immediately started talking about E40, Be Legit, The Click, B Shot, all these guys. Yep. And the reason why I had such a connection is because even though they were teaching how to be smart in the streets, they were still teaching how to be smart. Right. And since I was in the streets anyway, I like listening to guys that taught me stuff.
Yes.
So like it was just different for us. Like, you know, you had to be at a certain level. You had to be able to compete at a high level at a young age. And that's what taught me how to move. Okay, I can't see a door. What can I do? But I'm seeing it. And next thing you know, okay, I'm riding with y'all. I got on my fitted cap. I got on my new starter jacket. I got on my LA Grip boots, all colors. Got on my khakis. Like, what's up? Like, you know, and my mama ain't beating on me when I come in the house. Because she, you know, because I don't want to break her heart. Because she put my older brother out there was 6 years older than me. He ended up becoming a big heroin dealer. And so I don't want to put her through that. But hustle, to answer your question. I'm sorry. You can't teach it. And that's why I got back to 40 now.
I think it's a mentality.
It is a mentality. However, you can catch on. If you just use, my mama taught us not to be scholars because she was not, but she taught us not only how to be spiritual and believers, she taught us how to think and use common sense.
There you go.
And when we would get in trouble, the knuckles was like in the head, like a squirrel or something. Like, think, child, use common sense. And really, you could have got it worse than that. That was like, y'all being easy on us. But in the head a couple of times, be like, thinking. Then she'll tell us a way of how that could have went differently if we'd have just put a little thought into it. And I hated my mama when she would say that. Think, child, use common sense. Or my whole life is like, think, man, use common sense. And so learning that from my mom, watching my brother hustle, watching the guys in my neighborhood, listening to people like E40 and all these guys, they taught me how to move. But no, they didn't teach me how to hustle except for I watched.
There you go.
What was working.
That's what I have here.
You do have that right there.
Watch moves. I'm telling you, I just had this conversation with my husband. You can learn. There's a lot of people that I've learned from, like Nipsey and other entrepreneurs as well. But like just by watching how they move, you can learn a lot from somebody just watching.
And so that was my thing growing up. I used to watch these guys. You got to be smart. But again, it was like my choice in music back then was guys it was like, okay, if you listen to E40, you from Sac from the Bay, you got to outsmart the popos.
Yeah.
Right? And that was one of their songs.
But he also taught you don't buy $100,000 car
before you buy a house. Come on now. Come on. Now, see, you ain't going to disappoint me. This going to be real for those that know. But yeah, man, I mean, that's what I like. My God, like it was a confidence booster when she said it too, because I needed to hear that. Because even right now, while I make it look easy, I'm making it look good, and all it is, the behind the scenes is, man, you got to know how to move,
exactly,
maneuver.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you. I
love that. We call that working smarter, but I like you got to know how to move. So, how did you all the moves you made, all the lessons, as a young adolescent? What brought you here to now being a man and forming a company like Essentiables where there's feminine products? So we're going to take a quick break and I'm going to have you come back and answer that.
Excellent.
No more chains holding me.
Hi, I'm Coach Ari Squires, and I'm here to talk to you today briefly about creating marketing magic, right? I believe in magic, and especially believe in marketing magic. As a business coach, a brand manager, I help my clients increase their brand awareness and increase their profits through strategic business coaching and brand management. So I manage brands and I help them, build their equity, get booked for speaking engagements and sell their courses and all these different things that a lot of people just don't have the time to do. So marketing magic is like crucial, and so there's so many different ways to create this magic. It's all about client attraction and saying the right things and positioning yourself in the right places and doing all the right things online and offline. But a part of creating marketing magic is really making sure that your brand... Wait, stop. I'm not going to give it to you all right here, but you can get your top 10 marketing mistakes and how to create marketing magic. And I'm going to throw in a bonus brand checklist all for free. All you have to do is text brand to 202-410-0438. Go ahead and get your free brand equity building products today.
No more chains holding me.
So just like, we were saying during the break, how hip hop, if I'm honest, hip hop kind of helped develop me as an entrepreneur, if I'm being honest, because even though, like we were saying, it was a lot of drugs, it was a lot of, talk about things that we don't need to be doing. It was our lifestyle, but I'm going back to, I forgot his name. It was still always game in there. What was his name? He said, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's entrepreneurship.
Right.
It's about being prepared so when the opportunity presents itself,
success is automatic.
There you go. So hip hop, that's why when people talk about all these new rappers, and it's different, but it's still a part of our culture and who we are. So back to my question, what got you here with all the moves that you made? What got you here? So
eventually, my dad got clean. I moved in with him.
That's good.
At 13.
That's good.
And by that time, I started feeling like I'm ready, to get in the streets and everything. So by the time I was 14, I went down that path and, just got addicted, immediately because, my first score, I did really, really good.
Yeah.
And it was an ongoing, consistent thing. It was a culture where I was from. Yeah. I couldn't wait.
Were you still in California?
No, we moved back to St. Louis when I was 6. I only stayed in California for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, it was just normalized, where we were from. Matter of fact, if you did sell drugs, you was kind of weird, you was a peon, you couldn't even come around, get lost kind of situation. And so, got older. By the time I was 19, graduated from high school. I started cutting hair in a barbershop my junior year in high school with no license. My same big brother that stopped selling drugs was also a barber.
Okay.
So he got me in the shop because my dad got clean from drugs. He bought me some clippers. I became the neighborhood barber. Okay. So by the time I was a junior in high school, got really good. And that was an amazing experience, going from high school, after school, to a barber shop.
Nice. Creating your own money.
And making my own money. No license. She charged me 60-40. She took 60. I kept 40.
Nice.
But I was excited about that. And, still selling drugs, while I was at the barber shop, gang banging by this time. We went from claiming California gangs to not claiming local neighborhood, Crip gangs, blood gangs. So it was a lot going on during those days. A lot of my friends was getting shot and, we were making a lot of bad decisions, at that time. And so by the time I graduated from high school, I had 2 kids, one on the way, so I got out of the streets at 20, got married, and my whole life changed. I met a guy that taught me how to do mortgage loans, Mr. Wings. He did he did state time for armed robbery. He used to be a heroin addict. Got out, changed his life. Started a construction company, then he started a mortgage company. So he taught me how to flip houses, how to do mortgage loans. This is my early 20s, and so being married at 21, having 3 kids, not selling drugs anymore. My friends are killing it by now in the streets.
So the pressure.
It was a little pressure, but it was a spiritual journey for me, so it wasn't as much pressure.
That's good.
Because I got out of the streets, gave my life to Christ, and really changed.
Right.
Because
you have a lot more to lose now.
I had my kids, and and that was an experience. So those 3 years that I wasn't selling drugs, I made a lot of money in real estate. I bought a barbershop, beauty salon, and a lot of positive things. And 3 years later, I stopped going to church, got back in the streets, going through a lot of different emotions, failed marriage, and, just pressure, like you said, being super young, mature, very in a responsible standpoint, but not necessarily in how I responded to life's challenges. Being a young father, young husband, different things like that. So got back in the streets, got a major connection, and we had a crazy run. From 2001, January 2001, no, I say February 2001 to got indicted October 2004.
Okay.
Yep, and they put me on the front page of the newspaper saying I was facing 5 to 40 years in prison.
Wow.
Cocaine and marijuana conspiracy.
Wow.
And, I saw it, and you always get that initial reaction. But in my mind, I'm like, I know what I did. I know what I'm responsible for. And I know what I'm willing to take responsibility for. So I never panicked about it. And it was good because when all the paperwork came out, everybody that told me told the truth. And that was that I just sold the marijuana. Okay. I had sold cocaine at one point, but on this particular case, that wasn't
sound like me, but
my crime. My crime was for the marijuana. My co-defendants that cooperated, that's what they said. They lied on some of the guys and said they did things that they really didn't do. And then with the feds, you got to either snitch or you got to take responsibility.
Right.
That's it. And so by the grace of God, for the amount it was, the maximum I could have got was 7 years. Minimum was 5.
Okay.
Part of my plea agreement would lower the amount and reduce the sentencing guidelines. So it was over 500 pounds was 5 to 7 years. And then by me pleading guilty, they brought it to 480 pounds.
Okay.
Me pleading guilty is saving them money, not going to trial, all this kind of stuff. Say, I did it, but you ain't going to give me charges for all that.
Right.
But I did it. Okay, well, I've saved them money and time. I get a reduced sentence, minimum 3 years, maximum 4.
Okay.
Judge gave me minimum, which was 3.
Okay.
So I stopped selling drugs 6 months before I got indicted.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to change my life, do some things differently. Again, I'd always had that spiritual battle in the church, out of the church. I go from one extreme to another. But doing
reality.
those, that's what it was. And so
when you were incarcerated, because for me, when I was incarcerated, I had this revelation, I guess you can call it, where I realized that my life was better than this. Like, this couldn't be it. Like, this couldn't be my final destination. And so I said to myself when I was in jail, and I remember saying it to myself, I probably said it out loud, that when I get out of here, I'm not coming back. That I was going to get out and I was going to somehow, some way, I was going to be an inspiration to other people. But I had no idea that it would evolve into this whole releasing the chains movement. Were there moments like that for you when you were incarcerated?
Honestly, no.
So what was going on with you mentally when you were incarcerated?
Well, I stopped selling drugs 6 months before I got indicted.
Okay.
Enrolled in my first semester of nursing school.
Wow. So you were already transitioning.
I was transitioning because
Yeah.
I got a divorce from my ex-wife, and the next woman I met was in medical school.
Okay.
So I had this all like everybody I knew went to college was broke.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So college was never attractive to me. It wasn't even the culture where I was from for people to go to school.
Yeah.
But the people I did know to go to school, they was broke.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the people I knew that was making money was like nurses.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, if I'm going to go to school, then I'll be a nurse. So you're like, this dude went from cutting and styling hair, because I did men and women's hair, and eventually got my cosmetology license. I owned a barbershop and a beauty salon, in my early 20s. And I always did things that people thought was like a little unorthodox. But I'm like, no, the nurses are guaranteed. And then I'm dating somebody about to be a doctor. We get on practice, you be the doctor, be the nurse. Like I'm in my 20s, I'm thinking like this, and then we could get back into real estate. Like this the plan. So I'm sack lunching. We're not going to Dave and Buster's. Kids coming by the house. We rent movies, popcorn at the house. We ain't here, there, everywhere like we were when I was doing this. But we was making it work, and halfway through my first semester is when they put me on the front page of the newspaper. So, I had already got them. I was doing mortgage loans and I was in school. So where I'm at now, going through Leavenworth, while I was there, I knew when I came home what I was going to do. I had a plan. Okay. And so while I was in there, I was teaching, taught guys how to cut hair. I taught how to establish credit. I taught what PMI, private mortgage insurance, what a mortgage is, like basic stuff that I didn't even know until I was like in my 30s. Like, why certain things like, we so ignorant to like the basics, and so I was just trying to point to the brothers. I was involved in the ministry there. I was, just active. Yeah. So when I came home, all that fire, I'm ready to go. 3 weeks before I'm even out of the halfway house, we get ready to close on our first property. Because Ty's doing her residency program. And by the way, I got married in prison 3 days after she graduated from medical school. So while I'm there, I come home thinking like, wow, I got this major plan, what we're about to do, and the market crash. Ended up going back behind the chair, cutting and styling hair. Did not want to do that, but I'm like, I just had to do what I had to do. It was a lot of work. And I started selling flat irons and blow dryers with some new technology, met the distributor from Asia, actually the manufacturer of the company. Started doing classes in St. Louis, Atlanta, where I would do demonstrations, sell the product, and it was doing really good. And at the Bronner Brothers Hair Show, a lady introduced me to network marketing, a company called Artists, and they had the Body Magics.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the Body Magic?
Mm-hmm.
And it changed my life forever. Forever. 9 months after meeting Helen, I was making over $51,000 a month.
Wow.
And I had been out of the feds for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I had my biggest month with that company of $51,000, Ty was graduating from medical school. I'm sorry, she was finishing her residency program.
Okay.
Yeah, she was finishing her residency program. They started off with like $110,000 a year until she passed the boards, right? And so here I am making her annual in 2 months. It was crazy. And it was like a dream.
Annual in 2 months.
In 2 months.
Wow.
And
that had to change the game for both of you guys.
That changed the game major. Oh my gosh.
So let me ask you this question, because we can't skip over that, right? Yeah. Network marketing has this stigma around it for people who don't understand that it is an actual
business.
Great business to build the life you've always wanted to live, put your kids in private school. I mean, it's a great thing to do. Yes. But it had to be, of course, some smart moves, some strategy, and I would guess some leadership ability in that as well. So you have to pick up some leadership skills along the way that you think, because to do 50, was it just selling products or was it building teams as well? Because I mean, it's, that's so in regular business.
Yeah, the irony in how that worked out was I didn't even know it was a multi-level marketing company when I got started. I saw the product in action. I saw it before and after. I was like, I could sell that.
Yeah,
and I got a live audience with my clients, getting their hair done. I'm in the salons. I'm already selling flat irons and blow dryers. I'm already going from salon to salon, and I'm thinking in my mind, cha-ching, 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 because this is instant gratification.
Multiple streams.
And so I'm selling the product, and I remember my sponsor called me from Houston. She was like, you need to go to a meeting. you leaving money on the table. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm selling flat irons and blow dryers. I'm in the shop 12, 16 hours, and now you got me selling girdles. I said, what they gonna tell me at the meeting?
Right.
Well, you would never make the money I'm making if all you do is sell them girdles. That's how she was talking. But that's how I met her. That's how she even got my attention.
Okay.
Real abrasive, real like just in your face. Before. And, you know, she will get your attention if she wants it.
Yeah, I met her before.
And that's how I end up seeing the demonstration.
Okay.
Because she's like, you need to get over here and see what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, lady. But anyway, so she said, you leaving money on the table. She said, I just got my check. It was $23,000 last month. I said, whatever. Check went on $23,000. She's about to send you a picture. Hold on. So she sent me a picture of the check. I was like, for real? She was like, that's what I've been trying to tell you. So I go to this meeting. I meet a young lady who used to be a stripper. I meet a real estate broker. I meet a guy that was a producer with NBC, and him and his wife. She was a stay-at-home mom, but we was actually at their home because she had went back to work selling credit cards for Delta at the airport.
Okay.
Because he lost his job.
Okay, so
and a lot of people lost their jobs.
Because we only got an hour, right? So I want to
Let's fast forward. So fast forward, and from there, I found out that network marketing makes more millionaires in this country than any other industry, hands down.
Yes.
Despite it's a pyramid scheme, it's a punch. Like no, it's a actually, real business model, real people buying products, referring products, selling products, and helping other people establish home-based businesses. That's what we do, and we get paid for sharing.
Successful for it. Ever.
But it's been a proven business model. Absolutely. And so fast forward, we've been in the industry 13 years, 8 years in, became a multiple 7-figure earner as a distributor for multiple companies, and started my own company in the sanitary napkin line, network marketing. First time it's been successfully done here in the States, and it went viral.
Nice.
Yes, but because of God's will for my life, because things have a way of working themselves out.
Absolutely.
I was able to sell that company successfully.
Nice.
And I decided to discontinue that brand and relaunch a new brand of feminine hygiene products. So all of my experiences led me to a place of understanding the power of cash flow, residual income. And even in network marketing, I know we've preached from the stage that you're going to make this residual and leave it to your children's children. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe the life of the opportunity won't allow you to be able to do that just like that. But what if you were able to take that money while you were making really good money and invest it into something that could possibly pay you for the years to come.
Right.
And what I never forgot was the power of real estate, because even in my early 20s, when I stopped selling drugs, I started flipping houses. Mr. Wings taught me how to do that. And I used to rent rooms out, even way before Airbnb. And so I was able to pick up money every single week. When I got indicted and I couldn't sell drugs, and
still had the money coming in.
I still had money coming in.
Now, what do you feel about, because this is the thing for me, I get approached every once in a while about being a part of a network marketing company. And for me, I always say it has to be the product, and it has to be in alignment with my vision for my life, or just so let's speak on that. And that's just entrepreneurship, period. Because, as a brand
particularly
manager,
in network marketing, here's why a lot of people hate it, because they don't know timing is everything. Okay.
That's true.
You need to have something that people really need, not just want. Okay. You most definitely want to have the right leadership at the top of the company. Okay. And the compensation plan needs to be top notch. Okay. You don't have to have all of those ingredients.
Right.
But you need at least one strong one.
Right. I agree.
Okay. If you have two.
If you got all four of them, that's definitely the right
two,
one.
Oh man, you can make some phenomenal things happen.
Right.
3 and 4.
It's
game over. And I've been fortunate enough to be in a couple opportunities that had all 4.
That's awesome.
This is why I don't mind the beatings growing up as a child. This is why I don't mind having calluses. This is why I don't mind being woke up in the middle of the night to do something all over again that I already did because I didn't do it right the first time. This is why all the things, the failures, the disappointments, the setbacks, the hustling, the grinding, the risk taking, I'm like, dude, this is what those seeds was planted for. And a lot of times as an entrepreneur, we do so much, we don't realize that we're getting paid even though it might feel like we're losing because we're not reaching these goals, that this didn't go the way that we planned, but we're making money because we're sowing seeds of what we really believe. And if you don't sow seeds into what you believe, it'll never grow. And so sometimes you don't see without, you think you sow a seed here, the harvest didn't grow. That wasn't a good seed. Yes, it was, but it grew over here.
And you got to give seeds time to grow, because all seeds don't grow in the same time frame. So that's the thing.
So people could say I was lucky, and they could say, "Oh, he's whatever." But no, dude, I've been paying dues for a very long time. And what you said in the beginning of the podcast was when opportunity and when opportunity and preparation meet, success is automatic.
Absolutely.
So all those years of learning how to move and how to see an opportunity, and then be able to seize an opportunity.
Yep.
That's the connection.
There you go.
So going through all of those experiences was it was helping me to learn how to see an opportunity and then how to seize it by the way you work at it. And
I love it. So obviously you have, through this process, have released some generational change, which I want to talk about when we come back.
Yes.
No more chains holding me.
She's a CEO is the ultimate family card game and also an educational business toolkit for seasoned and aspiring entrepreneurs. It's fun, it's challenging, it's educational. Get some knowledge and pay some homage. There are a few ways to play for the most enjoyment and benefit. Play your favorite card games: spades, gin, poker, bid whist, or whatever your family loves to play. Are you ready to be mentally challenged in a fun way? Play our signature BizWiz business development matchup card game. The objective is to collect the most customers correctly, based on matched business development statements we've created for you. Each week, research one of the noted entrepreneurs we've celebrated in the deck by pulling 1 or 2 random cards from the deck. Use the cards for daily, weekly, or occasional inspiration. Read their stories and learn more about the change they've had to release to create long-term success and a legacy that will last forever. She's a CEO, a SheEO. Visit she'sasheo.biz to order your official business educational card deck today.
No more chains holding me.
So, releasing the chains, right? The reason why I, just forget my story, but what I want to give for the people is the opportunity to hear amazing stories like this of releasing chains. And obviously, through your process, through your journey, through the moves you made, you released a lot of generational chains. What are you teaching your children right now? Because I know you have little ones too now. Yeah. What are you teaching them to help them? Because let me tell you something real quick, because we grew up in a different time.
Yes,
we grew up where our parents didn't have much. They had a little, and we were happy kids. We did what we did. But now I'm looking at our generation and the success that a lot of us are having with the degrees, the jobs, and the careers, and we're more fluent, a lot of us, and we're raising children. And some of these kids can become spoiled or entitled, there you go, or they can learn too through the process. So for me, my child is in my business with me, so he sees the obstacles, the challenges, the struggles, the chains, and everything. So what are you teaching your children to help them continue on to release these generational chains?
I teach them their daddy.
That's good. What do you mean by that?
They know I've been to prison. They know I sold drugs. They know I was in gangs. They know that I did a lot of things that I had no business doing. And they know the things that I learned from those mistakes. They've watched me work. The pandemic was unfortunate for a lot of people. And, my heart goes out to a lot of families that were hurting during that time. My family flourished during that time. And my children got a chance to see that. They got a chance to watch me work and really see what it is that their dad does.
Yeah.
So I talk to my kids about sex, about drugs. They're 8 and 11. Yeah. But I learned the hard way because I have a 24, 25, 26-year-olds. And I tried to shelter them because I was such a young dad and I was fresh out the streets. And, I wanted to, kind of not allow them to see. And I should have allowed them to see a little bit more sooner to help them be a little bit more prepared because they grew up night and day from their dad. Their mom didn't work for 5 years when we got married. She got her master's degree, became a principal, and so they live well. And they, and so with my younger kids, I'm very transparent with them because I know the internet is going to show them, whatever it is that they search for, and I want to beat them to it. Yeah, I don't want them to have a distorted way of looking at certain things that are important, like sexuality, and drugs, and just a lot of the things that come at our kids on a daily basis.
That's true. And I think that what we teach them first is what is going to be the foundation. So I want to get to my kid, like you said, first before they get it from anybody else, because then they know that they're getting the truth of the matter. You get what I'm saying? Yes. It's coming from a place of love and, and understanding. So that's really dope. So in my book, The Mindset of a CEO, because I want to talk about mindset, because with our children, with building teams and successful 7-figure businesses, et cetera, there's got to be some sort of mindset around that situation. And we talked about this a little bit when we talked about the hustle mentality and can you teach hustle and, all these things. And I disagree. I don't know if you could teach hustle. I don't know. I don't know. I think somebody has to be hungry. I think you can inspire somebody to hustle, but I don't know about teaching them to hustle.
I was hungry.
Yeah, but see, I think they have to be hungry.
But I needed an ideal. I saw my brother carrying groceries. Ding. I saw Leon selling candy. Ding. I saw my brother cutting hair. Ding. I saw Mr. Wings doing mortgages. Ding.
Same
I
with me.
And so I don't know if they taught me hustle or if I just would hustle when I was exposed. And I think there's a lot of young men that incarcerated. That's what made my friends so joyful. A lot of things wasn't exposed to the possibilities. And so
what are you doing in your mindset?
So it's okay. So for mindset, I'm exposing myself now to a higher level of thinking. There you go. And I listen to a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor every single day. I read books about like James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, written in the early 1900s. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World. Jim Rohn, some of my favorites. Eric Thomas, what he's been able to do to inspire young people, and impact them. I mean, it's just, I have a plethora of, it's an insult to call them speakers, educators, teachers who I listen to every day because sometimes I can be my own worst enemy. Sometimes I can get in my own head. Sometimes I can buy into the negativity, the doubts, the disbelief. And so every day I've been able to pour. I would be broken. Yes, I know how to pray. I know how to pray. I know what the word of God says. But he gives us tools through practical teachings that we can apply. And these principles, they work. And so mindset for me is just learning principles that don't discriminate, because if they did, I couldn't get with it. But principles don't discriminate. And so the personal development, when you listen to these guys, and you can Google personal development and you'll get all these authors
and find what fits you.
But they allow for you to look introspect in terms of really look at how you think and how we have, if how we think could get us where we want to be, we would already be there.
Right.
So this is why listening to personal development and working on mindset is important, because sometimes we don't need to listen to ourselves until we get to a place and when we know how to talk to ourselves, or we know how to point to ourselves, how to speak to ourselves, affirm ourselves and not stop waiting for other people to affirm us. And, this is why these guys, I love these guys and they don't even know me. But I listen to them every day.
They're like your mentors and they don't even know it.
I would have been broken in pieces on this journey had I not been listening to mindset. And you said it before we started the podcast, every day.
Every single day. It never stops. No matter what. It's like my mentors, my actual mentors are worth 450 million, 50 million, 80 million, and I still see them hustling. I still see them moving in their purpose and still, showing up. And I'm like, why 450 million? I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna have a seat, I'm done, right? But it's that purpose behind what they're doing to impact so many people's lives. But the thing they always go back to that keeps them sane, keeps them going, keeps them strong is working on themselves every single day. Yeah. No matter, you think that once you reach a certain level or you reach a certain goal, financial goal or whatever, spiritual goal, that it's over. But it's really not, because you can lose it all just like that. If you don't continue to work on yourself daily. That's why I say self-mastery is daily work. Mindset work is daily work. And now, how do you feel about this? Because I know you've been around some very influential people, and I don't like the word influencer, but influential people, thought leaders, successful people, whether that be, success is not always about money. Right. You could be successful spiritually, you could be at peace, and people can gain and glean from that. But I know you've been around a lot of influential people, and there's this discussion about, make your own table. And I'm like, well, yeah, you want to build your own table, but there's nothing wrong, and this is just my own personal opinion, with sitting at other people's tables. So you can learn from those people and the mistakes they've made, their stories, their process, and their moves. What's your idea on sitting at other people's tables and building your own table?
Well, I believe in earning my seat at the table because I know the importance of the table.
Yes.
If it was not for my table right now, I could not carry out my dream because of my network.
Yes.
I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I can pick up a phone and say, hey, listen, this is what it is.
Yep.
And this is what it becomes.
Yeah.
Because of my credibility, my character. It is far from perfect, but it has sustained itself enough to build quality relationships with people over a long period of time. Okay. And so, and you cannot have your own table until you earn a seat at the table. That's how you get your table.
I love it. I love it.
And you can't think you automatically get a seat because you did this and you did that. No, right. Every table is going to be different.
Absolutely.
And I will sit, I have sat and I will sit at plenty more tables.
There you go. Me too. I love being invited to those tables because it makes me feel that I earned it. Because, we go through a lot, but you're also creating tables. So talk about your business. We're going to finish out and how you're creating a table so other people can come and eat from the fruits of your labor.
Awesome. I love it. Well, if you hand me this black bag behind you, thank you so much. I'm going to share with these guys something very powerful I came across 5 years ago. And I was introduced to the problem before I got introduced to the solution. And come to find out, this is something that has been affecting our women and our children for a very, very long time. And so one of the things that I pride myself in of all these years of being an entrepreneur is that I have produced either services or products that I can stand on and stand behind. Okay.
That's important.
And so, when I heard about this challenge of women having their menstrual cycles and using products that were full of toxins and chemicals and fragrances that were causing these health challenges. Right. I'm like, wow, I have daughters, sisters, aunts, my mom, cousins, friends, there's a lot of women that I care about.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they don't know this, and you find out a lot of women do not. Some women are familiar with toxic shock syndrome, but it's not just the tampons, it's also the sanitary napkins. And so I'm not going to do a full demonstration, but I just want to share with these ladies and gentlemen who are watching, because, man, you have a woman in your life that you love and care about. Yeah. And if you had some information that could help her, you absolutely would.
There you go.
And so here, what we have is one of the world's leading brands. Could you hand me that pack of Essentiables, the pink pack, please? We have one of the world's leading brands, a 10-hour pad. And basically it promises to keep you dry, up to 10 hours. And so part of the challenges that a lot of women are having during that special time of the month is that these products tell them they're going to keep them dry and they don't. Okay. And so the first thing I like to show is a much drier and comfortable option. Okay. Because we find out two of the most important things to a woman during the time of the month is to be comfortable and to be dry. Okay.
Right.
And so if you just take,
you want this water?
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you. If you just take what we found out to be about 50 milliliters of water, okay, a lot of women, through a lot of health professionals, share with us when they're having their flow, they're usually secreting about 15 to 50 milliliters. Some women more, some women less, because of now you have a lot of fibroids that come into play, heavy bleeding, endometriosis, okay, different challenges. And so for the sake of the simulation, I'm going to pour 50 here.
Can we see that? Can you make sure we can see it on this?
Yep. And I'm just going to simulate. And, I had a young lady say, well, Damon, you're pouring it up and down. That's not how the flow comes out. I say, nope, it's not what I've heard. I say, but what I did find out is that when the flow comes out, it moves.
It spreads.
It spreads, okay? And that's why we do the simulation in that manner. And I'm going to do the same thing, okay, on.
You can just work it manually if you want.
Same thing on the 10-hour pad. Okay, I'm just going to see what happens here. Okay, washing there. Now, when we asked a lot of the women in the focus groups, how many times do they change their sanitary napkin throughout the day? Some women said 3, some women said 6. So, on average, about 4 to 5 times a day. We asked why. A lot of women said the same thing, irritation, odor, chafing, et cetera, et cetera. And so we asked them, if they could have something that could keep them more comfortable or dry, would that be a better option? Most women said yes, of course. So here, I'm just going to apply pressure on both of these. Okay. Feminine hygiene products. Same amount of pressure. Okay. Here, you're going to see a soiled napkin. Here, you're going to see a completely dry napkin. So just from the absorbency alone, women have a lot more confidence in their daily use of this product. But the kicker is when you find out the ingredients that these products are made out of is where it's not so cool. And that's because the top layer is made out of synthetic materials. It's actually not cotton, so it doesn't absorb anything. And it all has to go through a processing to get it this color. Okay. This is also, something that does not belong. This is dye. Okay. And some pads we've seen it leak, some we have not. So it's not always the case, but it has been for some. Okay. And then here, I always thought was cotton at the bottom, but it's paper. Okay. That was white until I poured the water on it. And now it's turned like this color yellow.
Wow.
Okay. And so if I take just a little bit of water right here and put the absorbency system in there and just kind of see what happens. Okay. And now here you have the bottom layer, which is nothing more than like a plastic bag. So it can't breathe. Okay?
Wow.
And when you look at Essentiables, you will find out that our top layer is cotton. And it's cotton where it counts. Okay. And not only is it much sulfur, but it doesn't have to go through any processing. Okay. And you can see it's completely dry. And this is the top layer.
It's completely dry.
The top layer that comes in direct contact with you guys' body. Okay. Now, along here, you have our absorbency system that is non-toxic, super absorbent. Okay. And I'm going to put this inside of the cup with twice as much water as I put into the first cup. Okay. And surrounding it is airlaid paper. And what you notice here is it's breathable.
That right?
Okay. Never has contact with the body. Okay. This is like the microchip inside of a computer. This is the negative ion strip inside of the pad. Now, negative ions, according to the professors of Harvard, are like the vitamins of the air. They have to eat away at bacteria. That's what you smell when there's a heavy rain. Sometimes you're at the ocean. It's kind of weird smell. But negative ions also help you to relax. That's why when you're in the mountains, hard rain, you're at the ocean, that's a negative ion environment, and it just feels good. You know, you're at the beach, you don't want to leave. You can't even explain it. Okay, when it rains, you want to call Tyrone. You can't. You like, what is wrong with me? Right? What is the deal? Well, those are the negative ions. So when a woman is contracting, her uterus, when she's cramping, her uterus is contracting. Okay. Some of our testimonials is that because of the negative ions, some of the women's cramps have either gone away or subsided. Okay. We can't make any medical claims, but these are some testimonials. It also helps eat away bacteria. So some women say they didn't have any odor. Okay. So that's also something we hear women complaining about. And we even hear a lot of women say it's helped balance their pH.
Oh, nice. Okay? Very nice.
The bottom layer is see-through. Okay. It's microperforated, but you can also tear it. Okay. Unlike the hefty plastic bag. Okay, so it's more environmentally friendly, but allowing the air to breathe. So, yeah. So that's Essentiables. Is going to be launching here very soon in the next 7 days.
Oh, wow. So where can we, keep in mind some people are watching, so we'll put the website on, but then there are also people that are listening as well. So spell it out for us.
So it's shopessentiables.com, and that's SHOP, ESSENTIABLES.
Got it.
Shopessentiables.com.
Got it.
Okay. And here you will see where I poured the water. The first, it didn't absorb anything. Okay. That's the 10-hour pad. And you can see here, Essentiables absorbed everything.
Wow.
We turned the liquid into a solid. Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we believe it's the world's driest and most comfortable and safest sanitary napkin.
So dope. And so you're not doing network marketing on these. These will just be available.
So these will be available online through shopessentiables.com, but also look for your local influencers, local and international, because we will have an affiliate program.
Very nice. Very nice. So anyone watching, probably not anyone, but anyone that fits the guidelines can also be an affiliate.
Well, anyone can be an affiliate, but we're starting the launch off with some pretty big names. You're going to give me an affiliate link so I can put that right on in here.
Okay, and we're going to go ahead and move that way. But I love it. So is there anything else that you want to share? I wanted to, only thing we didn't really touch on that I wanted to, so I'm going to bring you back another time, is to really speak on leadership as an entrepreneur, because in order to grow a business, you got to know how to lead teams and lead people. So I want to talk about that when you come back. But is there any final thoughts, or, because this is a solution-based discussion, is there anything you want to give to someone who has either been in the, on the path that you've been on, or on the path you've been on? Any advice, suggestions, tips, strategies, anything you can kind of leave as a final word?
Absolutely. And it's going to pertain to leadership. So it's perfect. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like I said before we started the podcast, there's so many things that happen behind the scenes for Essentiables to come to life.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things.
And kudos to you for doing that. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm saying that because oftentimes, because of the failures, the setbacks, the disappointments, the disbelief of a spouse or a friend or a parent or peers, you kind of feel alone. And when you're on to something huge, when you're making a major change, when you're having a paradigm shift, sometimes it does get a little lonesome. It's going to get a little lonesome because you're growing, and it's growing pains, not just because you're getting uncomfortable, but so are the people around you. And so you start to create these degrees of separation. And then when these bombs go off, and these same people that you did not get to support almost seems like they're cheering in your failures or what appears to be a failure, it's even more discouraging. And so people because they're not working on their mindset, they're not listening to the personal development every day. It's easy to get into your mind and start thinking about all the things that you don't want to the point where you manifest that. When as a leader in business, especially as an entrepreneur, it is essential that we keep our minds moving forward, because That's how we learn how to deal with teams and grow teams, because you're going to have to deal with some teams you're not going to necessarily want to deal with, but you're going to need to for the sake of the big picture. But you're also going to need to learn how to lead. And from listening to the personal development, working on yourself, having that mentality that no matter how bad it looks, I'm going to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep growing, meaning listening to the personal development, and you got to keep sowing. You got to give along the way. Even when it feels like you have nothing to give, find something to give. So it's keep going, keep growing, keep sowing. And if you can keep that energy going throughout your entrepreneur career, that mindset, I believe there's nothing that you can't do.
I totally agree. Let's give a round of applause for that message.
Thank
that
you.
Is so absolutely true. So I want to thank you again for blessing us. I know those of you listening have gotten a lot of value from this, a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation, but take heed. Knowledge is power, but only when it's applied, period. So I'm hoping that you guys will get in contact with Damon. Please tell us how we can follow you on social media.
Yes, Damon Coleman. Damon Coleman, DEMOND Coleman, Damon Coleman on Instagram. And remember, shopessentiables.com.
Yes,
Thank you.
You guys make sure that you guys are following the podcast, liking, subscribing, and sharing. We have a new page. It's Release the Chains. It's for the podcast. And then my page, you can follow me at Ari Squires Speaks. That's everywhere. IG, Facebook, Instagram. But please make sure that you're leaving us some comments and tips and suggestions of what you want to hear us talk about next. But I just want to thank Devon one more time.
I want to thank you. I was about to say, I do not take this lightly. I expect to come back. Yes, indeed. It will be an honor.
I love it. So I love being around great minds and great people. And this is what it takes to grow. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
No more chains holding me.